Hey, Just Paula folks. This has been, well, let me just say, I did a video about my experience as a police officer, and I know it was really long, so I don't know if anyone watched it. But I'm going to break down a series of videos just about a lot of things that's been going on and just kind of been on my mind this last year. Just, it's probably been longer, just suppressed. So today is April 13th. It's 2021. And of course, I've been crying. My son had to essentially, because I don't have TV, he had to turn off. He's like, Mom, don't watch any more news. The young man, Dante Wright, that was killed. And it just really affected me. Like I talked about in several videos, like being a mom and to a black son and just him driving down and just navigating a world in America on his own, just praying and having faith and asking God to cover him. But, anyways, this video, like I said, I'm going to break up and I'm going to discuss, are white officers, I don't know if I'll say white people in general, but you can say that, are they inherently racist? Um, to what do I think are some recruitment recommendations that should be incorporated across America? And also, three, I think I'm just gonna just discuss like sort of maybe like just other options for us as Black Americans. I don't know. That's kind of what I'm thinking is split in three or four. Maybe other things, but let me just try to stay focused. So this first video, do I believe that white people or police officers are inherently racist? I will say this. If we think about like our two political parties, I think, of course, America is polarized, but I think I'm not really a fan of either. But of course, like a lot of people of color, I vote mostly liberal or Democratic, even though some of the social policies that Republicans claim to have may closer align with maybe my belief systems, not social, but anyways, but I tend to I'm a designated Democrat, and especially in the state of Maryland, if you opt to be independent, you can't vote in the primaries. So anyways, so I'm gonna say this to that question. In today's modern society, 2021 or 2020, or basically since Trump isn't he's not the reason, he's a symptom. He's the result of all of this, the structural racism. I will say that not all Republicans are racist or conservatives, but I do believe that white supremacists, people, neo-Nazi, and racists are Republican or conservative. I believe they identify. So some people, that's just what I believe. And so what I will say, in my opinion, is that when I was a police officer, remember, I turned 40 in 2 days. So this was right when I graduated college. I was shocked at the overwhelming number of white people that were policing in a very mixed area. And the area is so vast. I won't go into the county, but the area is so vast. But you have a population of like just international, Black, Spanish, like I said, international. But you also have like the affluence issue in this particular county. So it's kind of like almost like this invisible line of demarcation. But I was extremely shocked at how many white people that were coming from outside of Maryland. And Maryland got its own racist issues, and I'll get into that from my pizza delivering days last year and driving around this county. But I will say that it shocked me, and it shocked me that their lack of understanding and lack of experience just with different people. And so to me, I find, so fast forward with all of the Oath Keepers, all these other groups, I don't know, Proud Boys, even in my job now, which is predominantly white, I find it's really kind of disturbing. It's like a lot of white people, they believe the rhetoric of Fox News. And we know based on the recent court case that Fox News isn't considered, this is their defense, that they don't consider themselves news, they consider themselves entertainment. So all of the propaganda and the negative tropes and that are about black and brown people, these people are consuming it. These white people are consuming it, or conservatives, because there's some black and brown conservatives or whatever, and Republicans. So people like to think that once they get into a certain position, they can turn off their certain biases, like their unconscious bias or their implicit bias. But in my experience, I don't think that's possible. I did a video the other day about like how I don't want to say a bias, but I was positively discriminating against black or for black men based on, and I haven't gotten to that video, but based on my experience and seeing black men just broken down in every level. So it caused me to treat them differently, as in better, and really not judge them based on their interaction. So I would say that there is a lot of there's a lot of propaganda against black people and brown people, and if you have white people in positions of authority, they may not think that they're racist, or they may hate that, race comes up, but they have these implicit biases that plays out in how they interact with black people. And I've seen that, and I'm going to go into my experience as a police officer. These white people, they were looking for like action and excitement. I and other black people, now there was some black people that don't, not every black person is part of, what did they say? All kinfolk and all skinfolk and kinfolk. So there was some black people that they didn't have a connection like to the diaspora or anything. But for the most black and brown people, like, we're trying to get home. We're trying to resolve the issue or whatever the case may be. But there were a lot of white cops, like, they were out for excitement. Like, to me, if I had a night where it's just I'm helping an old lady get her cat, or someone's driving the wrong way, because, there was a thought that certain ethnicity doesn't know how to drive. I'm not going to get into that. But, if you're just redirecting traffic, or whatever the case, and you just causing security, our alarm went off. Like, I called that like, whew, thank God, that's a good day. They went home like, this is so boring, whatever. And they will always escalate. Like I told you, my first arrest, which I was trying to improve that's years ago. I was trying to like, you have a good first impression or whatever with my training officer. And in my mind, I always had this thought, like, because you have to think about if you ever get into the court and litigation that they're looking at your record. So I always knew the law, and I knew how much was a misdemeanor, how much can I just give a person a citation, or they call a petition or something like that, or what's a warning? Because in my mind, I just of course, I wanted to build rapport with the people, but I also didn't want to arrest anyone. Arresting is a lot. It's just a lot from like administratively. And so the way I grew up in an urban environment, in a poor environment, so I just knew what's serious and what's not serious. For instance, I can say what I would have done in that situation with the young man that was murdered for air fresheners. Me, that's low hanging fruit. And white people, they want that. They want that interaction. Me, I would just be like, that ain't even worth a stop. We are still in the pandemic. Some people not getting a vaccine. Some people are, whatever the case may be. Why would I stop somebody over that? You know what I mean? Like, so they're constantly looking for like that interaction. And it would have did, and that black cop that was there, it wouldn't have did. I mean, all he had to do was say, like, why am I being stopped? He could have just said, "This, you have an air freshener, or whatever the case may be. Here's a citation," or just give a warning. So people talk about that he had a warrant. He had a warrant for a misdemeanor. Misdemeanor could be, it's something stupid. It's not a felony. So that's the whole point. Is like, I just think white people in general, they don't see us as human. And I don't mean all, but I mean, I just think some white people, or most white people, I don't think they see us as human. They don't, and I don't know if they mean to, but it is what it is. They dehumanize us, our experiences. And I'll go into more my thoughts on that. But so to me, do I think that white people are inherently racist? Um, I think there is a lot of programming that have gone on, that is going on, and I think just subconsciously, I probably would answer that question yes. Um, and again, I hope people, again, when I'm talking and giving my experience and my thoughts, you can see the nuance. But that murder really affected me. Like I said, my son's like, you're not, you can't watch no more. I don't watch anything else, probably but YouTube. He's like, you can't do that. Like, we just need to take a break. It's just too much. But my answer would be like, I do think they're inherently racist, you know, and I think it's subconscious. Um, I think, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on that. So let me hear your comments and let's do a discussion. Let me just tell you right here, unlike my mind shift to keto, because I'm talking more about nutrition and wellness and stuff like that, and kind of just making sure that everything is in balance. On this channel, I'm not dealing with the foolery. I'm just not. So if you want to have a discussion, even a disagreement or a discourse, that's fine. But I'm not dealing with any racist people. I don't have it in me, and I could tell that like as I'm getting midlife. I guess midlife, like I said before, it's 37, but I'm about to be 40, so that's a marker. Lord willing, I'm not dealing with any racist, any of that on my channel. I'm just not. So you don't have to watch it. A lot of people don't, and it's fine. Okay, this is another thought too that I had. This is still to my are white people inherently racist. I think I have no proof. I'm not trying to start anything, but I do think when they review the officer Potter or Porter, whoever that murdered that young man, Dante, I think they're gonna find that she has connections to a lot of these QAnon, Oath Keepers, and Trump, and all this other stuff. And that's what I'm saying. That's the unconscious bias or implicit bias. Like, unconscious is like you don't even know that you have it, but because you've been programmed, like you just automatically something within your being says black person, danger, danger. It's because you've been programmed. You've been hearing things derogatory, and I think they need to look at her social media, and I think we're going to find out a lot about this lady, and that's why I think white people, and that's what they're doing. It's almost like ISIS and ISIL. They're radicalizing a lot of white people. So all this, white grievance and stuff. They're the adversary, which is like the white supremacists. They're able to radicalize them. They're able to use their white grievance and turn it into like they're white supremacists. Like make them, you're the victim. You've been wrong. This is being taken from you. All of these things. And like I would tell anyone, no one but the indigenous people can claim rights to this country. After the indigenous people, the slaves that built the country and built the economy. But you know what I mean? Like the indigenous people, like no one can claim like this land. Definitely not white people. And they've kind of, not kind of, but that's that whole mental foolery that they do is because they'll say go back to Africa or go back this or whatever the case may be. And it's like, no, you go back to your country. And it's like they do that. And I don't like to get into go back or anything, but it's just like that was another thing I meant to put in that video. So I'm just adding at the end as I think we're going to find that this lady has some thoughts and her experiences. If you do a review of a different arrests, But no cop, no police officer should be stopping people over stupid stuff, especially now. Expired tags. I keep renewing my stuff in Maryland. I did the tags, but I had that expired, and I ended up was able to, because you could go to kiosk, and then my vehicle emissions inspection. I keep renewing that thing, and thankfully it's free for now. But it's like, like, come on, like all that type of stuff. Um, and with a young person, it's like you could. There were so many things that black officer could have been like, listen, bruh, you're good. Like, we're just gonna check some things out, and you'll be out of here. Why you gotta put him in cuffs? That's so stupid. Get out the car and put you in cuffs. That just bothers me very much because you got people just lying out here saying he should have did what he was told. Why should he flee? When you have been traumatized, it's fight or flight. We all saw George Floyd. He stayed around, had cuffs on or a cup or whatever the case may be, and we saw that situation. So just telling someone or a group of people that have been traumatized, like that's why you need to follow the rules and what? No, we've seen when people follow rules and it leads to their demise.